What are grades good for? Do grades measure understanding or one's ability to play the game? Do grades measure mastery, compliance? Do grades measure a student's ability to give the teacher what they want? Do they measure all of the above? None of the above? Hampshire, Reed, St. Lawrence, Antioch, and St. Anne's all do not have grades. Some leading high schools are moving to a transcript that does not have grades. More on that later. Schools can put grades in the rearview mirror if they decide that sorting is not at the core of how they define learning. But is sorting bad? Admittedly, sorting creates competition, and competition can create stress, but stress can be good if it's leveraged to motivate. But the sorting system can be flawed because all grades are not created equally. Grades are not objective as much as we might think. Grades are not objective because of who does the grading. Who do you want teaching you and assessing your home run swing? Hank Aaron or some dad from down the street? Dad might have more patience. Hammer and Hank has more know-how. The point is that they're different and you're not going to get the same grade from both of them. Speaking of who does the grading, try this experiment. Grab a paper, quiz, diorama, whatever, grade it and have a colleague grade it. See how close the grades are. Design a rubric and do it again. I bet you still don't get the same grade. I know a teacher who graded a paper, thought he lost the paper, regraded the paper, then found the original paper. Guess what? Different grades. Grades are not objective because of how we grade. Do you grade on an implicit curve? Is your curve the same as your colleague's curve? Do all A's mean your class is too easy? Do all C's mean your class is too hard? Are we grading for mastery? What is mastery? Are we grading for exceeding low expectations or meeting high expectations? Do honors and standards courses have the same grade distribution? Why or why not? Here are the performance levels for Shipley colleague evaluations. Is anyone here getting straight A's? Grades are also not objective because of what we grade. Different teachers grade different things. Do you grade participation? Do you grade rewrites or retests for a little, for a lot? Do you grade for the process, the final product? Do you grade effort or achievement? All of the above? None of the above? Well, here is the new rubric proposed by Mastery Transcript. For those of you who don't know, Mastery Transcript is a movement by schools across the country to rework the traditional high school transcript. Instead of focusing on content, the transcript focuses on habits of mind. This could fuel the fire for dozens more Ignite presentations. Here's what I'll say though. I'm a little cynical of the cumulative report that uses a nebulous credit like master and use higher level math. What does that mean? To whom? This manner of reporting is very subjective, but at least there's no veiled attempt to make it seem objective. Grades are a conflict of interest for schools. Private schools are client-driven, and is a parent more likely to complain about a C plus where significant learning took place or an A minus where very little was learned? When a student earns a C, it becomes a question of how has the school or teacher failed the student? Sometimes the school is to blame, but sometimes the student is squarely earning a C, even maybe through hard work. So grade inflation can be about schools doing what's easy, not about what's right. Sometimes it's easier to give that retest than to meet with a disgruntled parent. Grades are a conflict of interest for students as well. High grades do not always correlate with learning. Copying, cheating, grade grubby, complaining, these all run counter to deeply rooted learning. Why would a student want to challenge themselves or take risks if it meant that they wouldn't get an A? But taking risks is exactly what we want students to do. And we want students making mistakes because this is where learning and growth occurs. Grades set up a system that can discourage this. Grades are also a conflict of interest for teachers. We know that relationships and connections help build bridges towards motivating students to achieve, but low grades can actually discourage students. Students often feel like teachers give students grades as opposed to teachers reporting grades that students have earned. There are rarely complaints about a teacher who gives all A's, even if the bar for learning is set very low. But if all of our students earn C's, then we call into question what sort of job we did as a teacher. I'm also saddened by the demise of the hard-earned B. If B minus is the lowest grade we're willing to give, then the student who works hard to earn a B will wonder why his or her peers are doing little work and getting a B minus. They can work hard for an A or know that you'll just get a B minus if you don't. This is grades at their worst, discouraging hard work and robbing students of learning opportunities. But it's not the student's fault. It's our generations of parents and teachers. We're to blame. We couldn't just let our kindergartners pretend play. They needed soccer leagues, piano lessons, participation trophies, and this is crazy. Enrolling your kids at Kumon at age 3. I'll tell you what happens when everyone gets an A. We leave it to the hands of the folks at the College Board. I wouldn't be surprised if standardized testing becomes increasingly important as grades become more and more meaningless. So, all this is to say that I presented a lot of ideas that may or may not resonate with you. Ultimately, I'm not sure that getting rid of grades is the solution. Maybe a system where we raise the bar and use a binary system of pass-fail and really hold students accountable for what it means to pass. My main goal, though, is to get people thinking and talking about what grades mean. I hope that I did not provide answers, but really raised more questions.